Hi, everybody. It's Ryan with Pie Records, and I'm here with my good friends Chris and Maggie from Illusions of Grandeur. How you guys doing?
Good. How are
We're
you?
doing well, man. How you making out today?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. We go back a long ways, Chris.
We do. If most people don't know, Ryan and I were in a band called Down Division for a good chunk of the '90s, right?
Yeah, yeah. And those
Yeah.
those
So
were some
many.
good days. But today you have your own label. You work for
Yep.
Sony doing mixing,
Yep.
and you're in this incredible band called Illusions of Grandeur. Uh, Tell us a little bit about
Because of her.
right, Maggie. Tell us a little bit about the theatrics and where you get your inspiration for the characters
Sure.
and the substance.
Well, I come from a theater background. I've always been interested in theater and theatrics, and I think it just like gives the show so much more. Not to take away from anybody that just stands there, because just singing or performing takes a lot of courage just to get up there and do that. But I come from theater, so I always wanted to kind of put on a show, if you will.
Yeah,
Not just sing and stand there.
Mm-hmm.
And the mythology and everything behind kind of the story goes back to our early childhood for me as well. I've kind of always been interested in it. I remember learning about it in school and I was just kind of hooked. The sirens and the Vikings and, Greek mythology and Norse mythology. So I've always kind of been into like the war paint, like old school, like real battle style look. And Chris let me do it. So so we won for it.
I let her do it. That's hilarious. No, so we had come up when we got together as a band in 2015, like November of 2015, and started working on this. It was to kind of contour songs to her voice and to
Yes.
do something different. Like I mean, Ryan and I go way, way back, and I was always interested in metal, hard rock, and pop. And we were trying to find a way to blend them and make it interesting. And use kind of my production style to do it with Maggie's voice. We have a partner, a managing partner named Chris Garby, who's kind of a personal manager, and he works with the look of the band. And between the three of us, we came up with the idea of doing something called the Siren Saga. And real simply broken down, it's like a Shakespearean tale.
Yeah.
It's in three parts. The first part, the second part, and the third part, just like the first three Star Wars.
Yeah.
3 acts.
Yep,
I always have to mention Star Wars.
You do.
So the first album, which came out in 2019 on Pavement Entertainment, was the Songs of the Siren. And that kind of introduced you to the band and the characters and our sound. And now the album we're working on now, which knock on wood will come out in between March and June on Toil Records, will be the Siren, which is the second part. And then the third part is called The Siren Rises, and who knows when that'll be out. But we've been working on all three at different stages. And right now, because of the pandemic, instead of putting out the album, we've decided to do a bunch of singles and videos. And we started that back in October with Crossing Over. It is fun.
It's a lot of fun.
Crossing Over in October 16th, and the video came out right after that. And then in December, we did Down. The video came out on Christmas Day. And now coming up in February, we have a song called The Wolf. And they're all part of the storyline of the second album.
Do you want to give me a breakdown of what to expect from the story? For the first album and the second album, like where you left off and where you're going.
Yeah. So the first album, you meet the siren, you sort of get the synopsis for the story, which is basically that she was supposed to be taking care of Persephone, and Persephone was down on Earth. That actually comes directly from mythology, where Persephone's picking flowers and Hades comes up and takes her. So he takes her to the underworld to marry her. So that's kind of the basic story. I didn't want to change any of that. But the sirens were supposed to protect her, and that's actually part of the story as well. And I take my character, because there are 7 sirens, but I'm the queen of the sirens, and Demeter and Persephone's dad, which I always forget, Demeter's her mom, they cast the siren out because she's supposed to be watching her, and she loses her to Hades. So I get banished from Mount Olympus, and they take my wings from me. And then I basically find that I'm also a water creature. So I use both aspects of the siren, the winged siren and the Siren of the Sea. So she basically goes on this journey. She finds, I forget who she finds first. It's not the Archangel.
It's not me. It's not my character.
It's not. I forget who she finds first. It was Nolan's character. Forgive me. I can't remember. Tyrannus. So she finds Tyrannus first, but she goes along in each song finding different characters to be a part of her, basically her battle crew.
Building her team.
Yeah. And then it leaves off, the last song on the first album is us getting ready to journey down through the Styx and battle Hades. So that's the last song on that album, and then it opens up with Crossing Over, where we've literally made it over the Archeron and through the Styx, and now we're on the other side of the underworld, getting ready to go through the Black Forest.
At the beginning of the Siren.
At the beginning of the Siren, and we're to the third song, which is the wolf, and the wolf is in that forest. So that's kind of
it's just
where
pieces
we're at.
taken from mythology and
personal stuff.
So it's interesting.
I tried to do a lot of double entendres so that if you heard the songs in the story, you could understand the story. But if you just heard one by itself, you wouldn't be like, what are they talking about? Like,
the easiest comparison I can give it to is The Who, Tommy.
Yeah.
If you were to hear Pinball Wizard on the radio, you're like, that's a badass song. Like, you don't even know it's kind of the crux of a huge storyline about the Pinball Wizard and Tommy. You just dig the song. So when we were writing the songs and working on them, some of the songs through the Styx are very story oriented.
Yes.
You might dig them as a song, but it's designed to be part of the story. So we've been focusing on a double entendre. So if you hear the song out of context, or you have no idea what the hell we're doing as far as the story or like an elaborate Dungeons and Dragons type theme, you'll still go like, damn, I like that song.
Yeah.
So it's something for everyone.
That's an incredible an incredible task to put to yourself, like writing wise. Just the story itself, like coming up with it, it's very, very interesting, and I can see why people are attracted to what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, who was it? That guy at when we played out in Harrisburg?
No, it wasn't. We played 2300 Arena.
Okay.
And this guy gave us a really cool compliment. He was saying how he's like, I didn't know who you guys were, and he's like, wow, he said, if I really do dig the music, he said, but if I didn't dig the music, he's like, you guys have like these awesome costumes, and like it's a crazy thing to look at, like smoke and lights, and he's like, and then if I wasn't into that, he's like, the makeup and the war paint, he's like, and he's like, you're just like down in everyone's face and like looking right at people, and he's like, and that's really cool. So he's like, you have like theatrics, and you have this really cool live show with costumes, and you move all around, and I like twirl a flag and stuff, and so there's something for everybody, even if I had no idea who you were, and I was like, they're okay. Like, he's like, you'd still put on this amazing show. So I thought that was really cool.
It was really neat.
It was like a neat,
getting to live out that Kiss fantasy.
Yeah, it's like Dungeons and Dragons, man. It's like you get to be a kid for a little while, get on stage and just kind of be some.
And that's a fun. She mentioned the flag. We have a song called Red Sky Morning, and she has this massive red flag that she hauls out and waves over the crowd. And most people, when they see it, when you're looking from the stage in the audience, you can tell they're like, what the hell is she going to do with that?
Everyone takes a step back. They're like,
and then she's waving it over the entire audience.
Like, what is that?
It goes out over the first couple rows.
It does, yeah.
And how she wields it, I don't know, because it's long, but it's crazy. And then like theatrics like that, but people really respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
And they see that it's not just like getting up there. And again, what Maggie was saying earlier, like I dug back in the day just getting on stage and jamming, but this kind of adds a whole other element to it with the lights and the show and theatrics and things happening. And not to say that we don't have it loose a little bit on stage too. It's not like be at this X at this moment, etc. all the time.
It's no baby metal.
So there are moments too.
It's awesome. But they're like on point.
We have our moments where we jam a little bit and we do different things, but there are key moments in the show where there's theatrics and movements and lights and the whole thing. It's crazy. So if you haven't seen us live, you should come out and see us live once.
I would love to do that.
And you should tell people that we should play with Avatar.
Avatar, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. We saw them with Baby Metal.
They're amazing.
The
Showman?
in September of 2019, we went and saw them.
Yeah.
And
I always liked Avatar, but I was like highly impressed.
it was crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
we went to the Fillmore in Philadelphia and hung
Oh,
out,
yeah.
and it was so awesome.
Yeah, they were really good.
Great
What,
band.
what
Both
are the
bands.
changes
Both
you
bands.
Oh
guys
yeah,
made to
Baby
play
Metal
with
Rock too. They
Mastodon?
were amazing. What's that?
What are the changes you guys would play with Mastodon?
Oh yeah. Well, we
I
hung
mean,
out with
yeah, Brent's cool, man.
Brent's our boy.
I mean,
Hey Brent.
you know, yeah. What's up, Brent? I don't know.
Maybe.
Probably just be a matter of communicating and like.
I'm sure they'd be up for it.
Yeah.
If they're back out touring. We have, and we can't actually, I wish we
No,
could
we
talk
can't.
about
We
it,
can't talk about
but we
it.
have a pretty big American tour coming up starting October through all the way through December. And it's going to take us through 7 weeks of shows all across the United States. And once we'll give you an exclusive because we're bringing it up on your show. But once that's put together, it's going to be pretty cool. And so that's kind of what we're looking towards is like October. We'd like to get back to Europe, which is kind of like our home.
Yeah.
We do a lot of bulk of our touring in Europe, just because it seems like we're more maybe in that range of Nightwish and bands like that. And, Arch Enemy and bands that are over there doing that. And they tend to get it a little bit more. Not that American audiences don't, but when we go there, like we were embraced
Immediately
from the get-go. Like we showed up to play the first series of shows thinking, you're going to play at empty halls.
That's what we thought for sure.
That's
like,
what happens.
That's okay. Like,
for anyone who's ever been in a band that you start out playing to the dog and the bartender, right?
Yeah.
So, and we showed up and it wasn't that because kind of like our imagery and some of the music had preceded us and people like tape traded or MP3 traded, which is what it is now. And they showed up at the show, like knowing
they knew the songs,
which was cool.
Like,
wow.
That like first time that someone sings back to you kind of thing. I was blown because they can't even speak the language. Like they can barely communicate with me, but they're like singing the lyrics.
From show one.
I'm like
that was
crying.
Crazy.
The one show. I'm like back. I actually had to take a phone call because I got an emergency call from the States and I was like, oh my God. And then there's like tears rolling down. I'm like, people are singing. I gotta go. Like that was crazy.
Yeah, that was that. But that was like, and we love in the Ukraine and Germany and England, like from minute one has like really been super accepting of us and has really given us our foothold and kind of our audience and also allowed us to experiment on stage and to develop. We kind of looked at our songs and looked at our album. And as we were writing this next album, which I started writing, we got back from the Ukraine, July of 2019. And I think it was like the next day I came into the studio and started writing the Siren album.
He already had some stuff started.
But
he's always.
I kind of looked at our live set, and people like bands or dedicated fans of bands can say, like, we're like, you know what? We need a heavy one. We need a faster one. We need a slower one. Yeah. So I kind of like analyzed our show and went, well, we need that. We need this. We need that. And how do we get there? And that's been the journey. So it's been since July. I wrote for 7 months, and then in March when the pandemic hit,
we were down here like every night.
We were down here for 2 months, 3 months straight, putting together about 37 songs for this album, and now we're kind of whittling them down.
Yeah.
Wow.
We have a lot of material.
So it's been a lot of fun.
You touched on something that I noticed right away. The first album was heavy and very melodic, but this one, what I've heard so far, is super heavy in comparison. That was intentional.
Yeah, we ripped out the 8 strings.
Yeah, no, that was definitely the intention. Yeah. This is like the meat and potatoes, if you will. This is like the battles and kind of everybody getting raw and fighting, and
This is the. I noticed when and it's my tendency to write heavy songs because that's kind of my background. So for me, it's a little harder to write like hard rock or pop somewhat. I got to really think about it. But we noticed the tendency, like when we played the heavier songs, we got a much bigger reaction. So I kind of turned to Maggie and I said, I think this album, to take it from the young ones, we got to, make an album that's so heavy you can't get it off the turntable. So that's kind of been the goal.
He likes to push me to my limits too. He's like, here, try to sing to this. It's like 185 beats per minute. I'm like, well, I'm gonna sing in halftime, so y'all are gonna play it that way, and I'm gonna sing in halftime.
Ryan plays the stuff that's like 200 BPM.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah, I was playing Behemoth.
We're like 180, 190.
Huh?
I was playing Behemoth today.
Oh my God, I love Behemoth.
Nice.
Yeah.
Amazing. I recently, and I'll probably get bitch slapped for this, I recently got into Slipknot.
Oh,
I really
really?
was never a Slipknot. Yeah, I was never really, I like their music,
yeah.
but recently I kind of like I've been following their producer, Joe, and I'm kind of trading emails with him and a couple other producers, like trying to, hey, will you listen to this? And, talking with our Valentine and different people, like trying to, not solicit review or just information, but just, what do you think of this? Or could this use more stereo separation, etc.? And boy, the production is crazy good.
Yeah.
So even if you're not like really into the songs, you can be into the production. So then I started kind of reversing. All of a sudden I was like, wow, I kind of like a lot of their songs. I didn't realize it. Not that I never disliked them, but I wasn't an avid listener, and I've recently kind of become an avid listener. Them and Avatar,
Yeah.
and Trivium a little bit. I've into
Okay.
them a little bit too.
Yeah,
And Ginger.
Ginger's like one of my favorite female fronted heavy bands.
Not that that's the band we're going to be touring with.
Oh, sorry. I love Ginger. I've been following Ginger for a long time. I think she's incredible. I think she's my favorite like screamer. I love Maria Brink. She's up there too. But Ginger, Tati, she's amazing. Her scream is very unique to her. Like that's why, and talk about getting smacked for something. I'm not a huge fan of Arch Enemy. Like I think they're amazing. Like the band is solid.
Oh God, yeah.
Don't get me wrong, amazing musicians. That's not what I mean. What I mean, I can't get into her growl because it sounds almost like a man and like everyone else, if you will.
Right.
But Tati's like when I hear her,
so
I
much
know
hate
it's
mail.
her. I know. I probably.
Yeah.
I think they're an amazing band. I know there's people out there that might go, Illusions of Grandeur is really good. I just don't like their music.
Yeah.
And I can respect that because there's a difference. There's too much hate anymore, I believe, because there's a difference between understanding that some band is like, that's a good freaking band. It's not my favorite music, but that's a good band.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't even need to say anything for Arch Enemy. Look, I don't need to say shit about them.
Especially since they had a Chris Broderick on.
Yeah. Oh my God. They're
great
amazing. I'm just talking about like the catch of it for me personally. Like that's why I prefer Tati, because she's got like I hear her scream and I know it's her. So sorry, I got off on a tangent there.
Funny story though, when we were in the Ukraine, we were in Kiev.
Yeah.
We asked me if we'd be touring in the Ukraine.
No.
But it was interesting because they're from
the Ukraine.
They're from the Ukraine.
Yeah.
I think they're from Kiev.
I think so.
Or that general area.
So, yeah.
So interesting because we're there touring in their country and they're in the States.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I was kind of like, maybe we'll cross paths with Ginger.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
But no, but it's been interesting nonetheless. So yeah, this album is definitely, is to get all the way back to the root question. Yeah, this album is definitely going to be, The Siren is going to be a much heavier album. And if you heard the first single, Crossing Over, that kind of gave you a little glimpse in it. And then Down, which was the second single, which came out in December. We're getting into the extended range guitars and into some lower A tunings and trying some different things. And then there's going to be a couple surprises on the album.
Yeah, stuff you're gonna be like, what?
Yeah, so we're mixing it up. It's a little bit of a roller coaster ride. So we'll see how many singles we end up doing before the album comes out. But our plan right now, if everything, knock on wood, goes to plan, there'll be a song and a video for everything on the record. Wow. So at some point, basically, if you string the videos together,
it'll be
story. Kind of the story of the album. That's the grandiose plan.
Yeah.
That's that's impressive.
Thank you. A lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of years.
Yeah.
A lot of back steps.
Well, we're lucky. We have a great crew.
Yeah, Chris Garvey, just shout out to
our
Chris
personal
Garvey.
manager, and
he's amazing.
And then our drummer, Ted Dominski.
Oh, he's a beast.
I know I'm mispronouncing his last name. I'm sorry, Ted.
I do all the time. Hey, Ted, we love you.
He's probably
right.
Huh?
What?
Aries.
Yes, he's Aries.
Aries.
Yes.
Someone's doing their homework.
That's right.
And he's probably one of the best drummers I've ever worked with. No disrespect, but to other drummers I've worked with, but he's crazy as far as timing, and he's a huge fan of death metal. Like that's his heart, that's his home, that's where he starts. So for him to come in and work with us, he's brought the heavy with him.
Yeah.
And I think we've had an effect on each other where I kind of pulled him back to where he's understanding like hard rock a little more, as he is a great metal drummer. But he's also, if you listen to the beginning of Down, there's a death metal blast beat in there that he kind of was like, I don't know if this is going to fit, but I'm going to do it. And it's really interesting. So we've been able to like kind of sew in all of our inspirations. There's some of that string skipping stuff that we did in Down Division where we move around, harmonic stuff that kind of snuck in there. And then there's just heavy drumming. And then our new guitar player, Julian Yeager, he came in at the end of the last tour cycle and the end of the last album. Our two other guitar players decided that it was kind of time for them to depart and do other things, which was great. And we all left as friends. It was just the touring and our pace is a little intense.
Yeah, I've had many discussions.
So they departed, and Julian came in and kind of filled that spot. And let me tell you, it kind of coincided with the story, and then he comes in as Domino's. I can't pronounce it.
I think it's Domino's.
Yeah,
he's the executioner.
He's the executioner. Awesome. So it's like a giant elaborate D&D game.
It is. It's like that would be the best, is if somebody wanted to make a platform for D&D, the Siren.
It may happen. Who knows?
That would be really cool.
I'd
be into that.
We will. Yeah. We will. I'm sure Garby's working on it now.
There's somebody in the Ukraine after we toured there made this like little miniature sculpture of me. It was really cool. I was like, he's like, I hope this doesn't make you nervous. I'm not gonna stalk you. And I was like, no,
it was an exact
no.
replica.
It was crazy. It was like this little clay doll, and I was like, oh my god, it's got the armbands and everything.
Yeah. I was gonna get one as a voodoo doll.
Get out of
here. they said no.
Get out of here.
They said you can't do that. So
yeah. I want to talk a little bit on a little bit more personal, just for a little while. I love my wife and I are a husband-wife team when it comes to Pi Records, and I love the fact that you guys are a team doing this and you have a vision, and it's hard for anybody to get on the same page when you're working in a band. That it has to click. But that's one of the most gratifying when I see you guys working together. I'm like very happy for you that you got that to work, and that you get to work together, because it's really special. So you want to talk about how that works for you?
Well, we really don't talk about our personal life on interviews, but for you, but
we complement each other well.
Yeah, we work really well. I talked about this, I think, a little bit on this another podcast we just did. I was doing a radio show in Philadelphia at the Total Records headquarters back when we were in Rockledge, and every I think it was Sundays, I did live. Bands would come in and perform either Saturday or Sundays, depending on the week. And Maggie was in a band, and she came in, and like from the minute she walked through the door, I went and she started singing. I went, "That's my singer." I knew it right away. It took about 3 years from that moment
for you to talk to me again. No,
yeah, no, we talked, but for me to like find a project for us to do together, and then when we started doing that, we started touring together and working together, and we realized we made a really good team. We complemented each other really well, so it was actually a pretty easy decision to go. We should go off and do this thing on our own and create something bigger and create something that we can put our stamp on. So, while it is a team of she and I doing it, we can't take even part of the credit, because there's so many people kind of behind the scenes, not just here, even in America. We've been lucky enough to have a really good support system around the world. from
Yeah,
our press
that's really
agent
true.
who lives in Mexico City, to people that we work with over in the
In
UK,
the UK, and
and
now in the Ukraine as well.
the Ukraine, who
I
are
mean,
like promoters,
yeah.
and press and engineers, and
Mhm.
people that, so when we go tour there, we have like crew
Yeah.
and people that we work with, and they fly in from everywhere. So it's funny. It's really, it's become international so quick.
Yeah.
And that really wasn't a plan. It was happenstance. It
Mhm.
was, when you meet somebody and they kind of get what you're doing and you understand that they want to be part of this and they have good intentions. So we've been lucky that we've just had people come on board to make the band what it is. So while we're writing the music and performing and we do the interviews and stuff, there really is, like, if we can fit everyone on this couch, it would be a tight couch of all the people that actually make the IOG organization run. So yeah, it's a really involved machine, which was never the intention, but
It kind of just happened. I think that's actually the beauty of it, is that, we knew we wanted to be in a band together and like do something different, because trying to fit my voice into everything else was just kind of getting old. And then we just like realized how well we work together, and how well we get along. And I like you, but I know you can be a tough cookie.
right,
I'm sure Ryan
no
knows.
walk in the park, man.
But I don't know. That's what I like about you.
Age has not mellowed me.
No, not even a little bit.
But yeah, so I mean,
It is rewarding.
And I think anyone that's been in a band, even because most bands don't last that long,
because of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because you can have a million great musicians in a room and not get along with any of them.
Yeah.
And that's half the battle of getting and keeping a band together.
And I think that's why bands come together and they fall apart quickly, or they come together and exchange members. It's like, it's how long can you work together and do something and still feel that creative spark? Sometimes you need to come together and take a break and then do something different and come back. So with this project, our break is on stage or on the road, because we're these characters. It's interesting because when I was younger, I used to, like, when I was really younger, like 5, 6, and you watch interviews with like Gene Simmons of Kiss, or like, Paul Stanley, they get to play these characters. So when we go on stage or we're out doing different things, we get to step outside ourselves. So it's interesting. It's kind of like a duality.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's a stage persona.
and it kind of it lends itself to kind of breaking the pressure or the tenseness in the band. We all kind of know we can step into these roles and do these other things, and it's a lot of fun. It's something I never pictured myself doing.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I never thought I'd be like makeup and armor and stuff on stage.
Awesome.
Although, again, I'll go back to I am living that Gene Simmons dream.
It's D&D, baby.
So it's cool. So I mean, we make it work, and we make it work because it kind of gives us an outlet to do something different. And there's so many creative other things aside from just in a typical band where you're writing songs, you're recording, you're touring. We're writing songs, writing stories, putting on a stage show. Then there's a comic book that's being worked on.
Wow.
And then there's a book, there's other aspects. So there's all these other aspects. So if you're not getting your creativity out, say in one aspect of writing the music or the production, there's other teams and other things you can work on. So it's really cool. Again, it's happenstance that it became that. It just from that initial seed of like, let's have a story and let's do a concept record, like, which a lot of people have done. We just wanted to take it to that next degree. And so I think it's going like that degree, then another degree, then another degree, then another. So it's a lot of fun.
That's the comic book should be.
He got way off track.
Yeah, but that's great. That's great.
I'm having coffee.
One thing I love is female fronted bands. I love.
Me too.
I love the strength and the power and the confidence. And I have 2 daughters, so every time a woman shows that, I feel that is one step further that my daughter, that a trail has been blazed for my daughters. Do you get that
right.
do you get that sort of feedback from people?
absolutely. Actually, the kids at shows are one
Mommy,
of my
she looks like a
favorite things,
superhero.
because the
That's-
look that you get from a child is completely different from an adult. And they literally, they're standing at the fence looking up at me, and their eyes are like huge, you know. And then if you look at them, they're like, you know, like the kids are my favorite part. And yeah, as far as females go, you know, showing that, you know, you can be strong and secure in yourself, and you know, yeah, it's a role model position. And then I really like bringing the warrior aspect into it. Also strong, you know, woman, female character. Lagatha has brought that to the table with that Vikings, you know, Vikings on history, you know. And that's kind of like, if you could say, like, how do you want to be seen? Like, that's kind of how I want to be seen, like a power, you know, powerhouse. Like, I can hold my own, I'm good, you know. And so, yeah, if a young female sees that and feels empowered in that way, that's the best feeling for me. I will take, he knows, I stood for, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half just talking to all the little kids in England. The little boys like, Mommy, she looks like a superhero.
It was the best. I have it on video.
Yeah,
it was the best
we
sound
posted it a couple
ever.
times. It's really cute, but that's my favorite because
I never pictured that I'd be looking out to a sea of children.
Yeah.
At times,
people hand me their kids, like trying to give me their kids.
They
on
bring
stage,
they bring the kids to the show. That didn't happen right away, but it started to. Is we do a couple different things.
We're clean.
That's it.
There's no cursing in my music, and there never will be.
No,
I don't really.
We work clean, and we try. Even though some of the stuff gets a little dark and it is heavy, we try and keep it light and fun, especially live. People want to come have a good time. So yeah, I never really pictured that you'd be looking out to the front row and seeing like a 12-year-old girl or a 6-year-old boy. And that's happened at festivals in Europe, and then we played at 2300 Arena last December, and there were kids that the parents brought.
Chameleon Club too. I've met a few children at Chameleon Club.
It was pretty
really
interesting.
Cool.
So that it's a really cool offset, because it's kind of like they're to see you dressed up, and they get the superhero thing and the story thing.
I think it helps us fall into character a little more too, because then you see them, and then it's like all about them. It's like that, you know. It's like, you guys are cool, but these kids are awesome.
we played a show last year in Harrisburg with Galactic Empire.
Oh yeah.
Are you familiar with Galactic Empire?
No, but I like the name.
Yeah, they do. You should check, if you haven't checked them out, you should check them out. They do a Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
And they play all the Star Wars music in metal form, almost like a Trans-Siberian orchestra. You would dig it.
I'm actually surprised you don't know that.
And the kids that come and see the Darth Vader costume, the Stormtroopers and the Imperial Guard, and the drummers Boba Fett. Although they have slightly different names for trademark reasons. But that was a cool mixed show, because there were kids there, like, you're for us, you're for them, you're for both. And it was really neat. And it was like almost that Disney aspect where people were coming to hang out, bringing their kids, and seeing the songs of the Siren, the illusions of grandeur, and then Galactic Empire. So it was like a fantasy band night. It was so much fun.
Yeah, those were fun.
It was really cool. And then it was at Harrisburg Midtown Arts Center, which is a huge old, it was a Y
venue. It's really cool.
They have this massive stage on the second floor. So it's a great place to see a show, and it's a great place to play a show, because it's like playing an old gymnasium bigger.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. But yeah, that's been a real fun offshoot of the character thing that I never thought about that. And then again, happenstance. And then all of a sudden you're looking out and you have kids that want, autograph their skateboard. Which is cool.
Yeah. And much like you, my son Brody, he's 8, and I love listening to the Misfits and Ramones with my son, and getting kids,
you get to relive it.
Yeah. And it's like, all right, it's not just me. Like, there is something appealing about this music. Kids respond to heavy music that's done right, I would say. So I totally get what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, especially the Ramones. Who would, and again, I'm sure when they were writing it, they weren't picturing that all these kids are going to be singing "Hey Ho, Let's Go." But there it is, right? It's catchy and it's awesome.
So you have a tour coming up. where can people get your music?
You can find everything IOG at iogmusic.com. That'll lead you to every link: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram,
It's our
YouTube.
hub.
That's our hub.
Okay.
It's
Trying to
much
make it
easier than
really
going
easy.
go
Yeah.
to Facebook. Go to www.iogmusic.com,
Yep.
and you can get the latest videos, where to download the singles, where to stream the singles,
Yep.
where to stream the album. Everything is there. Links to our interviews and press. Everything's right there on our home.
Awesome. Awesome. Is there anything you want to add before we sign off?
No, I want to thank you guys and Pi Records, which is awesome. That you're still doing that and kind of took that flag and ran with it. If you're watching this and you haven't checked out the artists and stuff that Ryan supports, do that shit. It's pretty awesome. So I want to, thank you guys, and then
Yes, absolutely.
also thank everyone that's checking us out and supporting us. We love getting emails. We love when people like comment and talk to us, and good or bad, it's great interaction. And in these times, everyone stay safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. I did want to end on the note where I love the songs of the Siren, and I love what the new stuff, because I like the heavier the better for me. So when I heard that you guys went heavier, I was all in. I was all in with it. So
Thank you.
so you have a
Nice.
fan here.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So thank you guys, and you have a great night.
Thank you, you
Same
too.
to you.
Thanks so much.
Take it easy, guys.